Open market operations, or OMOs, are when the Reserve Bank gets into the open public bond market. They will go into the bond market and they'll either purchase bonds or sell bonds. If they are purchasing bonds, they're taking their own money and they're buying bonds, so they're putting money into the economy. This is going to increase the money supply. So they're purchasing bonds from corporations and they're putting money that they're using to purchase the bonds into the economy. This money can then increase the money supply, and if the money supply increases, we saw from our analysis for money demand, if the money supply increases, it will shift that vertical curve outwards, which will lead to a lower interest rate, and if there is a lower interest rate, then it can increase investment and increase consumption. So that's the one way that the government can influence the money supply and therefore influence the economy. If you look at it in terms of the other way, how can they decrease money supply? Well, they can sell bonds in the open market. If they sell bonds, people, individuals and corporations have to pay the government money and pay the Reserve Bank money to purchase those bonds. So that money then gets taken out of the economy, and so it'll decrease money supply. Decrease in money supply, according to our money demand equations and our money demand functions, will increase the interest rate, which will decrease investment and decrease consumption. So that's the one sort of factor that they can use. You've got to note that if they buy corporate bonds from banks, if they're giving banks money by buying the corporate bonds from the banks, those banks will then have increased amount of money, and then they can use that money to loan out more. We've gone through the required reserve ratios. If the Reserve Bank is buying corporate bonds from banks, they can give them money, and a lot of that money can then be used and put out into the economy in terms of loans, because they only have to keep a small proportion of that as a required reserve ratio. So that will increase the money supply even further.